NBC2 News at 6.
Tonight's NBC2 Good Neighbor grew up in the projects. It's there he learned a skill that helped to make him what he is today. And as Craig Wolf reports, the sport of swimming not only brightened the lives of thousands of kids, but also put him in a very special place.
Maybe you know 37-year-old Lee Pitts. He's got a local talk show that's gaining in popularity, and he's a well-established businessman. But he's best known and has received national recognition for something else.
So I figured these kids get the opportunity to learn how to swim at an early age. They'll grow up with a lot of self-esteem that can help them out in a lot of other avenues.
It worked for Lee Pitts. He grew up in the projects of Birmingham, Alabama, learned how to swim at the boys' club there. Pitts said that led him to where he is today, a vice president at First Union Bank. Lee Pitts inducted into the Boys and Girls Club's Alumni Hall of Fame. Some of the others who've been recognized? Only Michael Jordan and Denzel Washington.
We're just gonna work on some basic stuff, all right?
But it's back at the Stars complex in Fort Myers where Pitts practically lives, where something else drew him to do what he does. The drowning rate among African-American children is 4 times that of any other group.
And my intention is that if we teach them to swim early, then maybe we can reduce the high percentage of drowning as well.
Lee Pitts has been volunteering as a swimming coach for 15 years. It's a rewarding experience he says he'll continue to do for the rest of his life. Craig Wolf, NBC2 News.
Usually, bankers are only supposed to float loans. But this financier, a vice president with the First Union Bank of Florida, claims swimming as his true love. It's a passion that Lee Pitts discovered at the A.G. Gaston Boys and Girls Club in Birmingham, Alabama, and a sport that enhanced his self-esteem. He's returned the favor ever since, serving as a board member with the Boys and Girls Club of Lee County, where he teaches swim clinics for inner-city youth.
Let's review some basic things about swimming and being safe.
His instructional video on swimming was featured on CBS This Morning, and his reputation as an expert has grown nationwide.
Lee Pitts has no Olympic medals, but he is certainly a swimming star in his own right. The successful Florida bank officer has devoted his free time to teaching thousands of inner-city kids how to swim. With a drowning rate for African Americans twice as high as the general population, Pitts hopes to help the kids master what can be a life-saving skill. This morning, Lee Pitts joins us from Fort Myers, Florida, with some of his students. Morning, sir.
Good morning, Harry. How you doing?
Talk to us a little bit about the kind of response you get once you get out there and get in the pool with these kids.
Well, the response, I try to teach my swim lessons in an upbeat fashion. So the response I get is a lot of enthusiasm. We have our parents are becoming more and more educated about swimming, and they are learning more that swimming is not just a sport, but it's a life-saving thing that they should get their children involved in as early as 3 years old. So I try to encourage parents not to see it in the same light as basketball, football, and baseball, because to be able to execute those fundamentals of those sports could not mean the difference between life and death, as swimming certainly can.
An accomplished motivational speaker who has addressed dozens of schools and colleges. Lee also hosts his own television show in Fort Myers. He is a role model for countless young people who, like him, found a special place starting out at the Boys and Girls Club. Please welcome Mr. Lee Pitts.
Well, I tell you, I think I'm probably the least recognized of all of the Hall of Fame inductees tonight, but I'm certainly grateful for this opportunity to come here and share a couple of words with you about what the Boys and Girls Club of America has certainly meant to me over these long years. I'd like to point out that I actually joined the Boys and Girls Club about 30 years ago a month from now, it would be 30 years ago, A.G. Gaston Boys Club in Birmingham, Alabama. That puts us at 1967. I'm 37 years old now, so you can do the math. But the executive director at that particular time was Mr. George Washington. I don't know if he's made it here today or not, but Mr. Washington, if you're here, I appreciate all the great motivation that you gave me at that particular time. He's still the executive director of the A.G. Gaston Boys Club in Birmingham. Was a tremendous and interesting road to this point for me because in 1967, swimming pools were segregated in the South, particularly in Birmingham, Alabama, up into the passing of the Desegregation Bill of 1969. So had it not been for the Boys and Girls Club that came around to our houses in the projects in Birmingham, Alabama, to recruit young kids to actually be involved in all of the plethora of programs that the Boys and Girls Club had. My passion at that time was for swimming. My mother was raising 7 children alone. And so swim lessons under those conditions and that environment were very difficult to come by. But the Boys and Girls Club came along, and it was started in 1967, which happens to be the exact year that they brought me into the program, taught me the fundamentals of swimming, and some of the results that you've just been able to view have taken place since then. But along that way with the Boys and Girls Club, I learned a lot about self-esteem. I learned a lot about being positive and the importance of education, and also conducting yourself in a manner that was appropriate. So all these values that I got from the Boys and Girls Club, certainly I consider to be complete, whole, and total. Totally the reason that I stand here before you, because of a little inner city kid in the housing projects of Birmingham, Alabama, that was embraced by one of the finest organizations in all the land, the Boys and Girls Club of America. I've been so fortunate along the way, and only until coming here tonight that I realized how fortunate I've been. And I hope that the values that I've learned in the Boys and Girls Club of America, I can continue to work with youth and continue to conduct clinics, visit many of the Boys and Girls Clubs around the country, and work with these kids, and hopefully we can find some bright and shining stars, because as you're out there doing your good deeds, which you certainly are doing, remember that many of the kids that you may see are only dusty, and it's just a matter of shining them, and you'll find those wonderful diamonds. I'm a testament to that. Being an old television talk show host, I understand the importance of the brevity of time here that I stand before you, and I realize that I have 2 minutes exactly remaining. So with those 2 minutes, I'd like to certainly acknowledge people. And before acknowledging any human being, I'd like to thank God for being able to capture me, being able to let the Boys Club of America discover me and 30 years ago, and have people who were genuinely concerned about my well-being, who saw the potential and continued to talk to me and motivate me to achieve excellence, sending me on to college where I received a bachelor's degree in business at Talladega College, a master's degree in finance at Atlanta University, and all those things allowed me to become a reasonably successful banker with First Union Bank. I'd like to thank First Union Bank for all the support that it has given me working with the Boys and Girls Club around the country, and that is not something that's easily frowned upon. The bank has put tremendous amount of resources in that. I'd like also to thank Norm Penner. He's the executive director of the Boys and Girls Club of America in Lee County, where I'm a member of the board of directors. It was Norm Penner who was very instrumental in getting me to this point here before you. And I'd like to personally congratulate you, Norm, for working hard, and hopefully we can continue to do good deeds down there in Southwest Florida that can maybe one day we'll have a student up here as well. I also like to recognize a group of who's come out to support me tonight, the Diverse Orlando, which is a local scuba diving club here. They work tremendously with me in educating young children on aquatics and scuba diving and all those other things that are pertaining and related to swimming, and I really appreciate all the volunteer work they've been able to help with me with as well. My good friend, in fact, the first person that actually wrote an article about me when I was going about my daily life was Charles Griggs. He's a writer for the Jacksonville Free Press, and quickly and in short, it was Charles Griggs who said to me, You know, I read a lot about you, Lee. I heard about you, but where did you come from? I said, well, I came from Birmingham, Alabama. He said, no, where did you really come from? I mean, this swim thing, how did all that come to play? And I hadn't really given it much thought. I said, well, when you think about it, I first got introduced to swimming at the A.G. Gaston Boys Club in Birmingham, Alabama. Once he pinned that in the newspaper, from that point on, I made it my business to promote the A.G. Gaston Boys Club, to promote the Boys and Girls Club of America. When I say the A.G. Gaston Boys Club, that's my error, because at that particular time, that's what it was called. Of course, the Boys and Girls Club is so inclusive, which is great, and now we have the Boys and Girls Club of America, and I think that is wonderful. So, with 30 seconds left, I'd like to say to everybody, I love you, I appreciate it. And I'd like to leave you with some words that always have inspired me. They are the words of the great Theodore Roosevelt. And whenever you're faced with criticism or people not believing in what you're trying to achieve, you can hum these words, and it simply states that it is not the critics who count, not the one who points out where the strong man stumbled or where the doers of the deeds could have done them better. No, the credit belongs to the one who is actually in the arena, like you. The one whose face is covered by dust and by sweat. They err and they come up short again and again, but they never quit. They never quit because they know the great enthusiasm and the great devotion, and they spend themselves in that worthy cause. And in the end, in the very end, when memories are written and etched in stone, they will not be placed amongst those cold and timid folk who knew neither defeat nor victory, because they were simply the critics. Thank you very much.